The way young people come into these woods, they're really kind of wooden, they're really restrained, they're kind of quite guarded. Just talking to them and doing the circle work at the end, when they've just left saying they feel chilled or they feel energised.
You know, some of these young people never met each other, but you can start to see these friendships form.
Just seeing the skills that I employ helping young people to engage with reading is really, really rewarding.
That's what struck me, is about reading being enjoyable, and children have talked about how sometimes they feel forced to read things that they don't really want to read.
So my name's Dr. Charlotte Dean. I work at the University of Hull. I'm a researcher and a lecturer, and my main focus is doing creative participatory research with young people.
Charlotte sort of talked about the connection with reading and this idea that how being out in the wild and reading the landscape, if you like, and reading the flora and the fauna and the history, how that connect with books and reading.
Having been interested in that area for a long time, I applied for some funding recently through the Ferens Education Trust to run this project really. We've got Mike from he's a local historian, we've got Damien the bushcrafter, Les who's a youth worker, working with young people. So we've just kind of brought all these different elements together, and Ellen of course from the Hull Libraries, which has been great because she's identified all the literature.
Well, my role is to teach the kids about local history, teach them about the history of the area, and a little bit about the folklore, the kind of stories that these areas kind of have.
They asked me to come along and to deliver some bushcraft skills, so I teach about wild plants for food and medicines, and I'll be teaching them some fire lighting techniques for making campfires.
And we just felt it was a really good idea, especially with the lockdown, to create this project and get young people back out in the woodlands, what obviously we feel like the need now more than ever.
So yeah, the young people have responded in two ways. Some are kind of find it a bit boring to start with, but then when we generally start walking around and looking at plants and eating things and making fires, they seem to engage. So we do things like putting mud on the faces and crawling around on the ground, and playing games a bit like British Bulldog with the camo amongst the trees, so that's really good.
I really enjoyed the fire lighting and learning about ways to eat like nettles and things. I think that was really fun and cool.
I saw some plants here that I didn't even know existed until today.
We did about the bubblegum boy and the white lady, woman, one of them.
The books that I've been bringing along are the books that I've written about these areas. So you'll find books about history, books about the paranormal, books about the unexplained and stuff like that, and also some true crime books as well. I mean, the location where we are today is quite close to Hull Prison, which lends itself to a lot of true crime stories.
Not on a professional, on a personal level, I think the history, especially last Wednesday, all of the young people enjoyed the history and the walk with Mike, which I thought some of them might do, but all of them did, and that kind of shocked me a little bit. Because sometimes, it's like Mike said, history can be boring, but I think it's how he presents it, because of his passion and stuff.
I think talking about the myths, like what's gone on around our areas, I think it's quite interesting, to be fair.
Well, I've had a little look through some of Mike's ghost story and UFO books, and I think I'm definitely going to get one, if not multiple of them, to read at my own time.
What I did was I got some like sticks and stuff, and I broke them apart, and then I got some like leaves and I did a tongue for me, and I was like, I called it Steve after my dad. It's been a real fun experience doing them, and it's been like quite fun because obviously I've been stuck indoors all week.
I think it's a really good way of making them it sounds kind of strange, but making them realise that you just don't have to look on your phone or Google something to find it. You can actually see it in a book, and you've got that book in front of you. So like the guys have looked through the Wiggling book and they're all picking out the little pictures of things that they want to make. And so you're not having to Google it or see what Sirius says or whatever she's called.
I've noticed when Charlotte's asked a question at the beginning, they don't read. And then when it's come to where they come back round the fire and the books have been there, whatever they've been interested in, like say Mike's history, they've gone and picked Mike's books up.
Being outside, you're more in the nature, so I think reading outside is way better than reading inside.
People think woods and green spaces are often really dangerous for kids to go to. So I think children are often encouraged to play in more tame areas rather than in wild spaces. One of the best ways to get young people to be active about doing something about the environment is to feel a sense of connection with nature and with the outdoors. One thing that was really important to us is that we're doing urban bushcraft and urban outdoor experiences and urban outdoor education. We're living in Hull. It's one of the most deprived areas in the UK. It's one of the most least wooded areas in the UK, and in terms of green space, it's quite low down on the agenda. We've basically scoured Hull for all the wooded spaces. We've worked with Hull City Council, Open Spaces Department, we've worked with the Woodland Trust. We've identified a big raft of wild literature. We've narrowed that down to the ones that the young people have been really interested in. We'll put packs together and then circulate them with the accompanying film and teaching resources to hopefully as many schools as possible in Hull.
Let young people be young people and kind of let them express themselves. I think that's one of the big things about outdoor environments, is that kids can just be kids or young people can be young people. You're in a classroom environment, it's very enclosed. I think in these environments, any advice I'd give a teacher is, A, get them out more in an outdoor environment, but just let them be young people. Just let them express themselves, really.
It's been a real good experience so far. I wonder what we're going to do next.
Definitely reading outside. I'd quite like to maybe go to the park and read, take a blanket and sit on that and read.
Gets us out more instead of just staying at home looking at screens. I was expecting it not to be boring, but like not as fun as it is.
Chance to actually go out and meet new people and just express ourselves really.